Hey guys, welcome to today's video. So I've got a question for you guys. So what is the leading cause of dry skin? Towels. Okay, on today's video. Boom. Okay, so today I just want to talk about something most of us are aware of, but we don't really think about. How two skincare products with the same ingredient lists might not actually be the same, and why. So you can have two skincare products and they can have the exact same identical ingredient list, and they can be totally different products for so many different reasons. And I'm excluding white labeling because a lot of brands white label their products and are manufactured elsewhere, and then they have identical ingredient lists and they probably are the same, although they might not necessarily be. But when you look at like the Dermatology brand and Dr. Laura Devgan brand, which is like 5 times the price of Dermatology, they're both white labeled, so they both have identical ingredient lists for a lot of their stuff, although the Dr. Laura Devgan brand sells their product for $200 and up. So they're at Sephora for a very, very, very short time, probably for a reason. Okay, so you have 2 bottles of serum from 2 different brands. You read each label and it contains the exact same ingredients. Are the 2 serums interchangeable and are identical? And probably not, unless they're white labeled. And even then they might be different. And there's a lot of different reasons. So ingredients, where they're sourced from, can vary. And if they're sourced from different areas, they can have different very quality. So natural ingredients typically are best when they're in their proper climates, the region of the world. Certain areas of the world produce better, like avocados, than other areas. And it's like that for every other ingredient. I think California is known for their avocados, but you might have avocados from, I don't know, a basement grown in Minnesota somewhere. Are they going to be the same? No. Especially Minnesota. It'll probably be dry and not very good. So a lot of things, how they're grown and harvested, can have a huge impact. So I take 2 brands that have ginseng essences. The Beauty of Joseon Ginseng Essence Water on my second bottle. Really enjoy it. And the Don Jinbi Ginseng Single Essence. They both use ginseng as their star ingredient. And are these products identical? This one comes at a much, much higher price tag than this one. This one's around $12. This one, if you pay retail for it, $50, $60, or even more maybe. I got a good deal on it though. But anyway, does that mean the ginseng in here is the same? No, the quality could be totally different. They could be harvested from different regions, sourced differently. And if it comes from certain ingredients, if they are grown in different mineral-rich dirt, can have much better nutrition, things like that. So it's hard to compare a product based on that, but I mean, that's something to consider. Sometimes when it's really cheap, it's cheap for a reason. I still love this stuff. And you know what, if you're on a budget, it's still better than not having any ginseng in your routine. So, I mean, that's something to consider. But so there's also a lot of ingredients. Purity is something to consider. Niacinamide, salicylic acid, glycerin, they all vary in different purities. And sometimes the price tag can reflect it, and sometimes the price tag might reflect it being more affordable. And I guess, you know, sometimes you're better off having a routine than not being able to afford it at all. But there is a reason sometimes they're different. And it is hard to judge a product by ingredient list. You have to judge it. That is one aspect of judging a product, but your experience using it, how it feels on your skin, others' experiences, all come into play. So it's hard to judge an ingredient. It's just one aspect of judging a product or an ingredient. Another thing to consider is ingredient order. Even if 2 brands have identical ingredient lists listed in the same order, it doesn't necessarily mean that the ingredients are the exact same percentages. So typically in the US and many other countries, ingredients are listed in descending order of the amount of the ingredient used. Also, this being said, there's typically in the US, if an ingredient is less than 1%, it can be listed in any other order. A lot of brands still listed in descending order, but that still, other brands might not be. So it's hard to tell. And sometimes some really nice ingredients function in very small amounts and is better in small amounts than huge amounts. So ingredient order is something else to consider. Another thing, if cruelty-free is important to you, how are ingredients sourced? 2 brands might be serums with identical ingredient lists. One's cruelty-free and one's not. Something to consider. I mean, are they going to be the same or different? So look at that. I mean, all things being equal, I guess I'd rather support the cruelty-free brand. So that's something else to think about. There's other things also worth considering. I mean, so look at, I will put these two up. I love both these products. They're amazing. They're both expensive. This one's about 2.5 times the price of this one, and this one still has more in it. They both use certain growth factors. SkinMedica's got a reputation with their growth factors that go back several years, and they've cultivated it in a certain manner and function. And so will those growth factors be as good as the one in Revive? I don't know. It's hard to judge unless you've used it. So sometimes that can be a good factor. If you use this for a few months, did you notice the same benefits as in the SkinMedica? So one ingredient that's very similar but could be cultivated in different ways and therefore function differently in your skin or function better, more impressively. So I love absolutely both of these. If you're on a budget, the Revive is great. So, and if I can get this one in sale, now I think about it, I got this on Black Friday for like, it was like $100. I think it was a price glitch the more and more I think about it. And I wish I would have told everybody about it, but I didn't realize the more I think about it, that was an accident. Probably. If not, yeah, whatever. So anyway, so that's something to consider. Other things with actives like retinol, one formula could be using penetration enhancing ingredients in certain ways and functions that the retinol will be delivered into your skin better. Something worth considering like liposomal or encapsulation. There's different techniques and brands that have been around a lot longer and have more of a reputation, probably have more experience doing it that way, and maybe therefore are better. The retinol might be better because of the science behind whatever encapsulation they use versus some other brand, which maybe if the person manufacturing is new and has never done it before, it could be totally different results. So that's something else to consider. Another thing, fragrance. That's just an ingredient in products. So fragrance can encompass, I believe, hundreds of different, probably thousands, probably hundreds of thousands of different scents. So you can have fragrance in an ingredient and have it come out and smell like something like this, the Glow Recipe Lip Balm. Plum Plump Lip Balm. It smells like plums. Wonderful. We've got fragrance. This is the Frutia Blueberry Hydrating Lip Balm with fragrance in it. And it smells like blueberry muffins. It smells great. So fragrance can encapsulate thousands of different ingredients. So just because one says fragrance, we don't expect it to smell the same. So fragrance can encompass several thousand different, that might be one of the fewer ingredients where it can definitely differ. Another thing, what methods were used to manufacture the product. Huge company, huge brand, they're going to have their own manufacturing facilities and plants versus a small brand where they're starting up, where they're making it probably from home. Hopefully not in their bathtub. I mean, things like that. That's something to consider. So if you got the same products that are manufactured under very strict quality standards by a company that sells millions every year versus somebody new doing it out of their house that's maybe sold 10 products this year, is the quality going to be the same? Maybe the small one might be better. I mean, you don't know. So that's something else to consider with two products with the same ingredient list. Sunscreens can differ as well. If you think of certain sunscreens that are really nice, I mean, here's one from Neutrogena, here's one from Tatcha. If both of these were using titanium dioxide and zinc oxide, is it nano? Is it non-nano? Is the zinc oxide nano? Is the titanium dioxide non-nano? It could be totally different in two different products. And the outcomes will be very, very dramatically based on that, because non-nano or nano can affect how it protects you from UVB or UVA rays. And definitely like if it's nano, it's a smaller molecule. So it's going to reflect the sun and the UV rays differently. So that's another thing to consider. UV rays, nano, non-nano, and I think it's more of a fairly newer thing. Up until the last 5 years, I don't remember seeing it always. And I guess I don't necessarily know if brands have to state if it's nano or non-nano. I do see it sometimes they list it as nano or non-nano. And some people might prefer one or the other, and some brands maybe not disclose it. So something else, they could both have zinc oxide, but it could be totally different formula just based on how it's made. Some brands use, if you notice, ceramides in certain orders. Some brands just buy ceramides in a pre-mixed solution as opposed to buying ceramides separately. And then that pre-made solution, you'll notice those 3 ceramides and usually cholesterol or phytosphingosine. So that's a totally different source too. So that can be different as well. And then in that has different percentages and everything else. So there's no easy way when it comes to evaluating skincare products to go by one thing. You have to go by a total how the brand is, you know, with their ingredients, the packaging, the manufacturing, the sourcing of the ingredients, huge. All of that kind of plays into it. So there's no one easy way to evaluate anything. It's you really need to look at it from every perspective. So anyway, that's kind of my random thoughts for today. And I'm interested in hearing from you guys what your other experiences are with dupes and things like that. Certainly if you're on a budget, you know what? I mean, this one's going to be very good. And sometimes if you're younger, your skin might not need as much anti-aging or things like that too. So spending a little bit less money and saving it till when you're older might be wise too, or if you can afford it. So, okay, there we go with my thoughts. Interested in hearing from you guys. Leave your comments and thoughts below, and I will see you more tomorrow. Thanks so much. Bye, guys.